NRG cleaned that up. The second game looked better than the first versus Apex, but it was also about how late NRG would take their games without being able to close them out. Cloud9 will attack that, but let's see how they attack picks and bans here in game 1.
All right, right off the bat, Azir. Azir is NRG's most banned champion. They do not like giving that away, and I wouldn't blame them, especially against Jensen. That's one of the champions he has mastered, and he has been able to make the most ridiculous of plays with.
Bard as well. Nothing coming from Smoothie there. They do choose Smoothie for this first game.
That's very interesting because Smoothie is the support on Cloud9 who has played all of their Karma games. Cloud9 have been switching out Smoothie and Bunny, just 1-2, swapping every single game. And that's been the one big difference I've been tracking in their champion pool. So to me, this game, especially since Smoothie's in, Karma rises even more up the priority list here for both of these teams. We'll see if they actually do target it early on or if they've got a different strategy ready to roll here.
So the Braum gets banned out. NRG was first picking that against Apex yesterday. As you also said with that Karma, a Kiwi kid likes to play the engage support, so GBM would really be the one to take that. But like you said, could also flex. A lot of things to do here. What does NRG choose first? Bit of a cheeky smile on Santorin's face there.
Yeah. The other thing that to me that's up, if we do look at the jungle role, because Santorin, the guy on your screen right there, he has been the most surprising for me for this new NRG squad because he's been miraculous almost. Like he's been performing extremely well, and Rek'Sai is definitely available right now. Premier jungler. Boom, there they go. They swap it over at the last second. Rek'Sai is going to get picked up. They're setting Santorin up once again. This is a great champion, especially for NRG, because Santorin really needs to be in multiple places at once, it looks like in these games. And Rek'Sai does have the ultimate. You can get out there a lot quicker. You know, not quite being in 2 places at once, but as close as you can get.
It'll really help him. We also see the Rek'Sai give blue over. GBM will get more help in mid, hopefully pick up those stats. And we also saw Santorin yesterday, even being down, was always a level ahead in the jungle, always power farming, always trying to be able to help his team out. So with the Rek'Sai, he'll get that chance. Karma is picked up on the side of Cloud9 with the Trundle as well.
I think that's a very intelligent first round there of Cloud9 and shows that they did do a lot of research themselves as well. They're able to give up the first round Rek'Sai, which has been the premier jungler a lot of people first picking, in exchange for this double round here, taking up the Trundle. They know they have superiority in any melee matchups. It is quickly answered though by the rising popularity of Gnar. Quas has been one of the people jumping on that bandwagon as well.
It feels like impact can be really big then. He just subjugates a big Gnar and he gets really big. Almost kind of playing into a bad position there. We'll see though. Quas knows what he's doing on that Gnar and he knows how to utilize the ultimate. The Karma probably going to Smoothie. Jensen won't reveal the mid laner just yet, so we're expecting that 80 carrying jungler to come out here.
Yeah, I actually like this where the teams are kind of matching speed for speed here. Both of them have the AoE speed boost for themselves. The Gnar matchup with Trundle is actually pretty interesting because the good Gnar player can try and kite the Trundle, keep him at arm's length. The problem arises if you get your hop interrupted by a Trundle pillar. If you have that really good timing on the pillar and Trundle can get on top of the Gnar in mini form, then it kind of all goes crazy for the Gnar. But ideally for the Gnar, you know, they can get that frozen mallet to add some extra control to that play style. We'll see what option he does go with here though, because Meteos has locked in the Gragas once again. He's been going back to this champion over and over. There's a lot of playmaking ability and does have a lot of high gank pressure on something like a Gnar in the top lane. So maybe he'll be able to tilt that matchup. Santorin's done such a good job though of keeping up wards, using the Tremor Sense on Rek'Sai and trying to track the enemy jungler.
The Sivir comp will try to get in on Cloud9 with that Gragas pick and pillars. It'll make it a little harder. Be able to separate that Gnar off your team with an explosive cask. So things are looking good as teams counter and try to pick something to engage with here. Final picks for NRG to round out the composition. Right now they have quite a tanky team. What will they put in here?
So GBM on an assassin would be an interesting twist. I would definitely, if I was looking at the past, say the Victor, but it is going to be the Ahri. They do lock in that assassin.
I've always wondered when we would see kind of picks like Ahri. They've been happening in CBLOL for the past months in other regions, but you know, it's always a region that'll stick to its guns, maybe pick something out when the patch changes, but this is awesome.
She's always been able to stay at least just on the edge of relevance for competitive play. Every once in a while making her appearance once again. Is a safe champion as well as being an assassin because you can farm the wave. You have the option to just try and do it safely, but then the all-in pressure is pretty much always there post level 6. And then here we go, Kiwi Kid bringing it back. He was one of the first supports to jump on that support Zyra train right after the rework when she was really popular, even first picking it for the team. Now, on this patch, this is 6.13, so there have been some nerfs. You have to immediately damage the champion if you want your plants to actually now, because they changed the AI. On the other side, though, there you go, Riv.
All right. Natalia, locked in.
Locked in,
ready to
Jensen,
go.
And that is going to signal some side lane play. We've got not only Gragas, Midos has been looking to make lots of early proactive plays with the Gragas, but now Jensen from the mid lane. If they get control over mid,
my word.
Talia can go to the side lanes very quickly and try and cut people off. Bottom lane is definitely set up to do that as Sneaky has taken the Lucian for that extra pressure in the 2 versus 2.
What awesome compositions to come into game 1 with. Like we said, we'd wonder what NRG would put into a comp. They kind of pull out something new with the Ahri lock-in, first tier of the summer split we will be seeing. I don't even think we saw that in the summer split either, or the spring split.
Yeah, I mean, as we said at the top of the show, we've been looking for new things from GBM, trying to switch it up, whether it be just improving the play style, you know, and cleaning up some of those mistakes, branching out here, going with the Ahri, a little bit of a different look. He can also have a high impact when roaming. So whichever mid lane does get that first early advantage, gonna have to look out for the wards around mid.
There's been the Ahri, still has the Ori in his back pocket. We got to see how far his champion pool can go. Rock the vote on Twitter. Predict the winner of this match using the hashtag NRGWin or the hashtag C9Win. Interesting comps as we head into this one. NRG looking to shake off the loss versus Apex yesterday, and Cloud9 looking to continue climbing up the standings. Like we said, this game is very crucial for both as NRG looks to separate themselves from the bottom of the pack, and Cloud9 looks to creep back in those top 3.
Yeah, Cloud9 definitely want to turn this around. They had a tough schedule for the last couple weeks. They suffered some losses.
Yeah.
I'm going to put a stop to it right now. As they cruise on out, there you can see Talia's passive in example right there.
Running fast out. We're talking about Kiwi Kid putting himself back on the Zyra this game, but also Kiwi Kid shares some insight on the difference between rookie and veteran supports.
Probably the biggest difference, at least for the support role, is a lot of veterans have habits that have just been ingrained over just so many years of competitive play. That makes them a lot more predictable, and you can kind of feel where they're going, and they have a lot more tape to watch of them.
Kiwi Kid is one of those veterans that has a lot of tape to watch about him walking around as support. So a lot of people lie in wait for Kiwi Kid, especially towards that mid game. He's going to have to be very careful on Zyra. Super squishy, definitely a target that's easily cut off anytime Jensen has his ultimate available, and Kiwi Kid's wandering around looking for wards. Could be turned around pretty quickly. As of right now, though, the level 1 was deep wards invade for the lane swaps for both sides, and it is going to be NRG lane swap up top. Cloud9 are going to send their duo down bottom as soon as they get vision. Cloud9 are the ones trying to evade the 2 versus 2 right now. Don't want to deal with that Sivir and Zyra harass. It's extremely annoying to have to wonder about bouncing blades, but also the zones from the Zyra plants in the 2 versus 2. Even with the nerfs, really good Zyra players will still get that damaging auto or plant spawn on the enemies so that the plants immediately attack enemy champions. That was the change in 6.13, where previously the AI would just say, these plants are berserk, they're automatically, as soon as you spawn them, going to attack your enemies.
It is quite annoying to lane in that. As a support, you basically can do nothing about it, and you have to hope your AD carry plays very, very safe. So the swap just makes it that much easier.
And Lucian being that short-range AD carry makes it hard for him to avoid the damage.
Yep.
Here come the teleports, though, on the first minion so that they can get the push down. Impact actually waits around for the extra experience of that 1-2 melees dying. He's still soaking up here. This is very, very risky for Cloud9. Yes, Santorin's not here right now, but he is on the way. So Impact soaks a little bit extra experience. Now he's going to teleport down to the other side, so he's been able to eke out a couple extra minions of absorbed experience. Kiwi Kid was able to stop his teleport, I believe, because he just followed him there and probably was able to get the snare off to interrupt Impact's teleport. And Impact's staying up there because of it. Instead of walking down, he's trying to soak more, and he's delaying their tower take a little bit because the champions aren't attacking the tower now, since they're trying to zone out Impact. So even though Cloud9 are behind on the tower take, NRG are also a little bit behind on it since they're trying to zone him out from experience.
A great game of back and forth. We saw mid lane as well. GVM taking a bit of a hit here. I think Meteos came through as on his way down. Now just unraveling some earth, working it around. Looks like he won't be able to do too many more of those volleys now with what he's done in the mid lane, protecting himself. But clears it out, also up ahead in a few CS. And we'll see if the top laners really have a big discrepancy builds out of this because of what's been happening.
Well, one thing that might happen is that NRG are going to have a rough time trying to give solo gold to Quas unless they push up the duo lane really far to go for the zone. Sneaky here actually is the one to get the solo gold, obviously because Impact is on the top side for Cloud9, but this Lucian is going to have a lot more gold than usual, and since Lucian is one of those AD carries that builds flat armor penetration, he'll probably go Ghost Blade. Yep, there it is, the Serrated Blade. That's going to boost this Lucian out to a much earlier power spike. Already spikes much earlier than Sivir with the first item right off the bat, and we'll see if Cloud9 can actually increase the tempo due to the way that they soaked up experience in the beginning of this lane swap and reacted to Impact's teleport being stopped.
And just moments ahead of the Cadence. That's the pillar you were talking about. Forces the flash. All the crowd control has really been used here, so they're going overboard with the exhaust. They thought they could be in range, but Quas separates himself. They do still have a slightly faster push on that top lane before NRG will reach the bottom turret, though.
Yeah, and they've got everyone up here. Cloud9 have extra members, so they will gain tempo on this swap. It's just going to be the 2 members of NRG trying to push down the bottom side, so Cloud9 still pretty big tempo lead. They also have a huge CS lead in mid lane right now, by the way. One of the biggest things about Talia and why she's so strong right now were the last round of buffs to her really increased. Oh, Meteos.
Hit the whole pot in the camp.
Able to get them all. Man, everything is going Cloud9's way right now. Meteos has a giant CS lead over Santorin. That's about 300 gold. Mid lane is ahead as well. They're ahead in the lane swap as well. The turret's going to go down first for them. Impact will get the solo gold this time. I was just kidding. It's Smoothie sneaking in to help it out. No, he wants to make sure that they actually get the turret. So
I know. No minions.
Yeah, Impact's like, okay, I'm okay sharing as long as we guarantee we kill the turret.
And that guy on your screen just a second ago, Impact, had a lot to do with the ring around the Rosie in the top lane that allowed Meteos to just go around, farm, keep that top lane of NRG, trying to kill him, but farm the top turret. Buying a lot of time has bought them a nice lead, just about over 1,000 gold now. NRG trying to invade somewhat to get some wards down, stop this bit of a snowball by C9, and they grab the bottom turret.
Yeah, and as the turret falls, the gold evened up a little bit, but Cloud9 with a pretty substantial CS lead right out of the lane swap. Mid and jungle really benefiting from this.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I was about to talk about, Talia, the cue for her right now, the threaded volley, is where a lot of the strength came from after the last buffs. She can clear waves pretty easily at the moment. Plus with the duration of that worked ground going down as well.
It's actually a really quick cast. Those aren't the easiest things to cast as well. It's kind of takes like a Victor laser mechanic, but even a little bit more for the shove.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Meteos, not only does he have the farm advantage, but now he's worked into the enemy jungle. He's got the early tracker's knife. He laid down a bunch of wards here in the red quadrant to allow this duo to push up. So they've got vision to support the plays they're going for here.
They're just overrunning things right now, Kobe. There might be the second tier turret in the bot lane too, waiting for the rotations.
Yeah, that defensive ward here from NRG might enable them to set up a sneaky play, except that Meteos' own wards, everybody's on a ward, but nobody knows that they've been spotted. So Meteos and Santorin.
Oh, just missing the Soul Flare. Meteos very low. He's actually going towards the TP, and they try to kill him out. Meteos goes down with the explosive cask falling, trying to separate the team, and NRG collapsed very quick.
Yep. Meteos had no idea that walking over to that brush, he walked over an NRG defensive ward. And even with Santorin and GBM sitting on Cloud9's own, they make the collapse, they get the first blood. That gets them right back in this game, and our gold is evened out.
Still have a pretty good fight squad. That was not having sixes as well for NRG. You had the Sivir ult in there. They just acted fast. Good to see that they're not hesitating here, especially coming after a lost day. Coming in strong and confident against Cloud9. Still got a lot to work on in the CS and lanes. And a possible gank here in the mid lane. It's definitely going down, but are any of the champions? Impact onto Santorin, and he doesn't have Subjugate yet either. So it's kind of just the set of abilities and everybody walking away.
Yep, and Cloud9 retain control here. They have a giant minion wave mid, so that means they can move down to Dragon. They're trying to clear out the wards as Kiwi Kid fights them over it.
Healing back up. All right, so Ocean Drake going into the side of Cloud9. They're pretty nice. Not too much sustain on their team already, so this will be good.
Yeah, definitely pretty much the best early game Drake, as it allows you to stay out on the map and capitalize on opportunities that present themselves. Always having more mana, always having more health and being able to back off will allow them to react a lot quicker. As of right now, though, NRG going to try and trade that objective, not give it over to free for Cloud9. Santorin's taking a beating on this thing. Aquas has to tank it. It only has two more swaps here before it runs out of patience. I think they should be able to get it. He does have smite. He has smite, so. A little close for comfort, but they are able to get it. Glimpse of the Void traded over for the early Ocean Drake, and everything very, very close in this game. The difference right now is that Impact is pruning this wave in front of his turret, trying to keep this freeze. He doesn't have teleport right now, but it's coming up quicker than Quasid, and should be up in time to react to any sort of play that NRG try and make on the other side of the map to force Cloud9's hand. Meanwhile, down bottom, Sneaky split pushing here with the Lucian. This has been something Cloud9 have been doing a lot with Sneaky, the AD carry split push. And it was actually very surprising they were even doing it with Jhin, one of the most risky AD carries to do that with.
It seems like they always have control around the map otherwise. Impact has pretty solid control in his lane. Jensen's been playing very well lately. And so he thought the pressure would go, as it were. Cloud9 gets hit where Jensen is. Cloud9 has a bad game. This time up some 30 CS already. Cloud9 still controlling the map.
Time and time again, if Cloud9 have been able to isolate Jensen with the enemy mid laner, 1 versus 1, Jensen just bodies them and earns, look at that, couple of shots hitting there and the Thunderlords for a huge trade for Jensen.
This becomes the interesting part because while we know, we'll be all right. While we know GBM plays Ahri, he may not play that matchup against Jensen. So while we saw him get a kill earlier, mechanically played well to get Meteos, every time they're back to lane, it becomes difficult for him. Very interesting while seeing that, trying to take a different champion into game, especially when you have to go up against one you haven't seen. Yeah,
the CS lead here for Jensen is definitely making up for the early kill, and just goes to show the power of Talia's minion wave shove at the moment. NRG moving into the jungle here for a little bit of counter jungling though. So you see, this is what I was talking about, trying to force on the other side of the map, knowing that Impact is freezing right now. NRG are trying to find a way to break that freeze and force his hand, because as of right now, Impact has earned that level lead over Quas due to the freeze, and Cloud9 are getting 3 lanes of experience and gold income from the minions, whereas NRG are only working off of 2 lanes of income.
How hard does this actually make it for NRG to engage?
Well, here it goes. They might actually go for a dive here. The problem is Talia wave clear. Once again, Jensen's able to annihilate the wave. That puts a stop to the entire last minute of NRG's gameplay.
So it is hard.
Yeah, very hard. They got the wards into the blue quadrant, and yeah, they stole away Gromp and Wolves. But Gromp and Wolves in exchange for about 3 minion waves that Impact has been able to soak up on the top side for Cloud9.
Hopefully one of these charms can make it happen. Jensen still has the ult up. He can try to ride it out. It is just going to be the walkout. The shield from Smoothie there, along with his flash, both blown by mid laners. Actually, one, I'm sorry. That was a Spirit Rush and Ignite from GBM.
Holy moly, yeah, that was close. Smoothie getting right in there at the very last second for the shield and speed, allowing Jensen to escape.
Looks like we could have Sneaky coming over here, meeting Santorin in the jungle. They're trying to go second tier in on this. The siege wave, it's going to be cleared out by the explosive cast. C9 understands the power of this mid lane turret against the composition like NRG's. Once they break that last line, they can start running everywhere with this Sivir comp.
Yeah, Cloud9 have done a really good job of defending this mid turret. Yeah. I mean, with NRG losing out on that extra lane to farm, a lot of the mid lane farm has started to go to OQ as Sivir's come over to mid lane. So you're seeing the CS difference between Jensen and GBM even grow in the mid game here because Sivir's making repeat appearances in the mid lane, you know, taking away mid lane farm, and now they're forcing them out and Jensen pushes it right into turret. This is one of the largest mid lane CS differences that I've seen in a very long time. At only 14 minutes here, almost 50 CS lead for Jensen.
And with this, it's affecting the other lanes as well. We look back and Impact is still farming that top lane because more people are needed to help against Jensen in mid lane. More visits to help GBM. It's cascading to the rest of the team. We can see why so many teams put a lot of pressure on C9's mid laner.
Yep, and you look at what else they're doing on the other side of the map too. Cloud9, they've made the call for Impact to start shoving that top side. They're preparing for this dragon. Now the Impact has a big wave pushing up top. You know, they can move in to get this vision. If there's any fight breaks out, Quas will lose out on a lot of minions. Currently, there's that 2-level lead for Impact. It's going to take longer than 30 seconds for Quas to farm that up, that difference. And Impact will at least come into the fight with a whole level lead for the front line for Cloud9 if they decide to force at this Infernal, which it looks like they're setting up to do.
OQ, 15 minions of this wave. He really wants to get that call stacked. C9 is like, take it. We'll go up here and do Dragon. OQ's probably going to take that time to grab the wave with some ricochets.
Talia could pick him right. Oh!
Weaver's wall goes in right on the Kiwi Kid. The calling comes through as well. And there's no way he can get out of that.
As soon as you mention it, yeah, Talia just jumps right for it. Jensen goes in, cuts off Kiwi Kid. And even though he misses, doesn't matter.
Just hop off.
You put the giant wall there, so can't walk anywhere. Doesn't matter if you missed the little seismic shove. And that's going to be kill for Cloud9 plus Infernal Drake. Just what you want heading into mid-game. Meanwhile, on the top side, though, NRG trying to strike back. They're trying to push on this top side. They didn't try. They didn't try and use Quas's teleport or anything to get down there, so he shoves the minion wave in. He denies the cannon at least.
Oh,
2 versus 1 Impact.
As well. That's subjugate onto Quas. He's just about to gnaw out, but he may not want any of this still. Quas is going, or Impact going 2v1. Quas, I thought he was going to go back in. He chooses to run as Jensen is closer to the wall. He gets that passive, the flash engage. They're going to take down Quas immediately, and GBM picks up another one in the retribution kill.
While NRG did get a kill there, it's just a 1-for-1 because Jensen was firing the Q right as he got stunned, and it took down Quas in that flash. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, because NRG had 3 people up top side, Cloud9 are able to get a turret. Now they have a turret lead. They rotate over to mid. They've got 3 versus 2 in mid, and NRG are going to try and wave clear down there.
That Titanic finished up by Impact quite quick with his CS lead, really turned the tables of a top lane matchup. And NRG, I'm happy to see that they're doing things. We keep questioning once they kind of go even against the team, are they going to be the ones to try something? And here they go actually a little too hard.
Impact just runs straight up to Quas, ults him. Quas turns around and aggroes the tower as well. I think he took 2, maybe 3 tower shots there to get him this low. And with the chase, Quas can get the flash ult to set up GBM. However, it's only a 1-for-1.
Right. The volley's just out of range. GBM using that Orb of Deception movement speed to keep himself alive. Flash blown, however, and this is going to give Cloud9 more control over the mid lane as the wave is going to be crashing in.
Yeah. All right, well, the Frozen Mallet that we were talking about in Champ Select has been completed for Quas. So we'll see if he can actually use that to try and control Trundle. As of right now, Cloud9 aren't even splitting, though. 5 people mid, just brute force, bully down the turret.
Oh. And you just see when the timing is used, when you have that moment to move. NRG has been at C9's turret for how long? C9 get the right pick. The first time they're on that turret with their members, they're able to grab it down. Really controlling those moments once they get them. And now 18 minutes in, it's still a pretty close game. 2K gold lead could sway either way here. And Sneaky looks like he's going to try to go toe-to-toe with Quas for a little bit.
Everybody's just trying to 1v1
Whoa!
Quas. Sneaky's going to get the better of him so far, too.
Oh. I would have flashed over the wall there and died.
Same.
Same.
But not actually the same. Sneaky
Nope.
doesn't flash over, does not die.
Smarter.
Just bullies Quas off, and he goes to collect his minions that he has just defended up top side. That's actually someone without teleport, though. So now it's up to Cloud9. They're in the same situation where they have to defend mid now. It's just that Talia's wave clear is so long range. That's so much safer, and he instantly takes it out. They're able to keep their mid turret upright. NRG, even with the Sivir coming mid, were unable to defend that outer mid turret, and Cloud9's 2-turret lead right now is there you go, is doing a lot for them, not only in terms of the gold lead, but the map control at this point is mostly Cloud9's. This is not a safe space for NRG as they invade on Cloud9's jungle. Impact does have teleport. He is level 11. Level 11 is such a huge break point because that's the extra level in your ultimate. So if Impact came in right now, he would have a larger effect than Quas.
Inhibitor turret ping on that bot lane. Impact running in. You said level 11, second ultimate for him. Quas knows he can't really approach too well. Meteos hovering down to get ward. So C9 kind of allows NRG into their jungle. They say, that's fine, you're going to ward. Now we're going to go back and push down mid lane when you're out of position.
Yep. Just going to straight shove up and get a lot of damage on the turret as well. See if they can zone him off because everybody's collapsing here. Quas does have teleport as well. But remember, the teleport channel time increased on this patch, especially with Gnar having to worry about the rage bar to come in. It makes those initiations a lot more difficult. They probably need to wait for Quas's flash for him to be able to get the back line and get the double stun that they're looking for.
Yeah, very conditional. You almost need to sneakily get the Gnar in, which is kind of hard. That turret goes down. C9 play with Jensen's Unraveled Earth so well. Just kind of throw it down. It almost acts like Zyra's zoning. They just can't get in on it.
Ridiculous amounts of zoning here from the Stone Weaver. And even with Sivir, who we always talk about, oh, this is the amazing wave clear from your AD carry, NRG are unable to hold on to turret after turret. Cloud9 increased the turret lead to 3, and it's really become increasingly difficult for NRG. Still a tenable situation, but it's very scary for them to go out and get these wards because NRG rely on this kind of half pick where they're looking for GBM, you know, and Sivir speed boost to sort of pick someone off guard and get the quick kill. They really are relying on these extra wards and the extra vision that they can do to set it up, whereas Cloud9 are just bullying as 5, focusing on the objectives and running straight through the lane.
Love to get that team gold off of GBM for his 2-kill shutdown. We talked a bit about his KDA going to the wayside. 2-0-0 this game, trying to help the team carry through, but Cloud9 keeps pressuring down ult after ult. It's really whittling NRG down, and that's been the problem for them. They're not able to now stop a turret or live the Infernal Dragon.
And especially, you can see it in Sneaky's play. He's so aggressive. He's going very, very offensively. Here's the Sivir speed boost, though. They're going in.
Jensen flashes out. Santorin comes up a little early on that, and it looks like Impact's going to retreat. They say, let's just keep going out.
Cut off now.
Yeah, Weaver's wall goes out. Quas goes in, and a beautiful block off by Jensen as the team controls the area completely, surgically removing Quas from the map.
When you teleport in on the other side for one of those pincer movements, you have to commit. The rest of the NRG team backs off. Now it's Cloud9 going for Infernal number 2.
They pull it out perfectly as well. OQ gonna try for the long-range boomerang. Not going to work, and Cloud9 continue to troll the map. 3 dragons in their favor, Ocean and 2 Infernals.
It's like if you had a pair of scissors, but one of them broke, it's just a knife now. Not a very sharp one at that, it looks like. Let's take another look at it, because Cloud9, Sneaky, I believe, oh no, Smoothie gets vision of it. So they know the teleport is here. Jensen early flash is great for him, because now, look at the presence of mind of Jensen. He immediately, as soon as he sees them retreat right there due to the ward they have in the brush, cuts off the 4-man team. They're waiting out here. You guys are not allowed in Cloud9 territory. They literally built the wall on Cloud9 territory right there across the borders. And they're unable to get in. And Quas is just murdered in Cloud9's side.
Oh, man. The ward goes out, quickly cleared. They're looking for another kill. It's not going to happen. They back out of this. 23 minutes in, Cloud9 getting very close to one of these fights leading to a possible Baron or rush down mid lane. NRG, though, they do have a squad that can come through with quite a fight. Have to see if Quas can get in without C9 really seeing his entry. And it's almost too conditional for the way Cloud9 has a lead and they've been playing now.
It's definitely difficult for NRG to force a play. Now that they've already failed one, the gold lead is also going to start to show itself in the items completed here for Cloud9. And now it makes it that much more important for NRG to catch Cloud9 off guard with a numbers advantage. If they have an extra champion at the very beginning, you know, or if GBM's able to snag someone and they can burst them down before C9 react, that's what they're looking for to get back into this game. It's so difficult to do against a Gragas disengage as well as the Karma support speed boost, allowing people to get out of danger. However, the target here is probably going to be Jensen. They saw him burn his flash in the last initiation, so maybe NRG will be able to find Jensen mispositioning and strike that way.
And I really like the Swifties on Jensen as well. The passive, you go so quick flying around the map when you're next to walls and turrets. So he'll be approaching every fight with the team. Also, 2-level lead on GBM, a 2-level lead from Impact onto Quas. It's almost NRG has to buy a little bit more time for themselves here as the minion waves crash in. I don't know if Cloud9's going to give it that time to them, though. Oh, just on the heels of Sneaky. Looks like he could get himself into danger, but stays safe. Cloud9 being very patient right now, but they're just looking for the first opening. We saw the red take on the bottom just a few minutes ago, and they're just creeping through the jungle looking for that pick.
Very, very dangerous stuff here for NRG. They have to tread cautiously. Quas is going for it, though. He has GBM, so they're trying to kill Impact and be able to react to the top side. Here comes Jensen, though.
Impact's already full health after a few hits. Gotta be very careful here. Jensen flies in, starts to work the ground a bit, and they are moving off. Looks like Meteos could try to cut them off. It's gonna be GBM as well at Tri-Brush. One Spirit Rush is off as well as he closes the gap. And it looks like he's gonna have those to wear off or get out. Quas goes for the ult. Once again, chased down by the team. GBM gets held up here, and he's got a flash. His Spirit Rush wears off completely.
This has ult too.
Nobody's gonna come over from the top. I think Sneaky might try to, but they already have control of that mid lane turret. He's able to keep him range with the cask. I don't know why I doubted him keeping GBM in range. And it looks like NRG's doing all they can now to protect that mid lane turret.
Yeah, meanwhile, Sneaky and Smoothie, they're able to apply pressure 2 versus 3 and stay safe due to Karma's disengage and the mobility inherent in Lucian. Just everything going right for Cloud9 in this game, off to a very good start in the series.
26 minutes onto the first inhibitor turret, and it is dropping very fast. A dominating force right now. All 5 members standing tall inside the base of NRG. Cloud9 looks to head out. The Mantra Karma Shield completely safe. And NRG now picking up the shambles, trying to fix this, hopefully getting a fight on the next Cloud9 entry.
The objective focus paying off so heavily for Cloud9. Plus, Jensen being able to roam down here, answer GBM. Even though GBM gets the first half a map as far as walking down there, Jensen, ultimate, boop, I'm here. And Quas was already losing the 1 versus 1 with Impact. So once they even the numbers, NRG just have to run. They're trying to scramble here, but as you can see on the mini-map, Meteos has been heading over from the mid lane. 2 versus 1 here on Quas, and he's not able to get anything done. GBM hovering around because he wants to be able to get in there and support him, but it just ends up meaning that Meteos can catch him out, was holding the ultimate this entire time, making sure that he was able to hit it, and that GBM didn't have, you know, any extra dodging space.
On the charm, too. Would have allowed GBM to get some extra distance there. Persistence pays off, though. Cloud9 find their Fox And now 5-2, 27.5 minutes in. We get all of NRG backing on that top side. Get some items finished up here. About 1,500 to spend on Santorin. Kiwi Kid just spent about $1,000 himself. So finalizing that Haunting Guys and some boots. Hopefully he can provide enough damage for the team to really change Cloud9's mind. But after they're taking down these turrets quite easily, they know they have good distance between them and NRG, and it's time for the objectives.
Scuttle Crab being there doesn't deter Cloud9.
Nope.
They walk right over the buff. It will alert NRG that there's no bait in operation right now, though. Ocean Drake is coming up, but if NRG are the ones who decide to try and go sneak it, then Cloud9 could just do Baron. So it pretty much means that the map is free for Cloud9. They can walk down whenever they want to start it up. And then you can see Impact is getting deep wards to see if there's any approach that Cloud9 can try and cut them off from. Because Jensen has the ultimate once again. Meteos can get over there to capitalize and knock someone over the wall as well. Cloud9 pick up Drake number 4 as they head up to try and defend their wards around Baron.
Cloud9 dropping that security web just before they left. They have actually all the knowledge of NRG heading into here, but they don't want to take the fight actually since Summer backing. C9 plays it safe, and they just try to rinse and repeat here. They get one turret down in the bottom lane, don't change the strategy, and they will come back for the next. 3 core items at least on each member to still some components for NRG looking for second and third items.
Yeah, it's very apparent that Cloud9 have full control right now. Sneaky not only is Sneaky on Lucian and going the build that peaks in power much earlier than a Sivir crit build, but he's got an extra item to boot. So definitely going to add much more than OQ can in the team fights.
What a crazy matchup as we did kind of look at that mid lane back and forth. We mentioned pressure on Jensen, but wasn't much. He's 100 CS up now on GBM, 29 minutes in. He has been
They're starting Baron also. It's burning it down.
I wonder how that works with the Azir ban. Is that a Talia ban coming through now? Only changes things. The Baron fight could change even more. The Unraveled Earth keeping NRG out just for a few more seconds.
Yeah, you got to be really scared of it because not only can Jensen pop you over it with the Seismic up, but Meteos can pop you over there with his ultimate as well.
That's very true. So many options that Cloud9 has to activate the ultimate or initiation, if you will.
Look at the Nexus. It's dying to super minions coming in from the bottom, and Cloud9 just move in. They don't have to take Baron. They can just bait NRG out of their base long enough.
The wall.
It's
oh my word! So many uses for the wall coming in. Jensen blocks off NRG from getting over to the inhibitor, and they take it down as they wave goodbye and exit the base.
Just so much control, and even though it's a new champion, Jensen's shown playing right to her strengths, relying on minion wave control, you know, roaming over to the side lanes, cutting off the team when necessary multiple times where the ultimate was able to cut off the rest of NRG and deny them from joining in an important objective. Here's another important objective. This one is free over to Cloud9. No attempts from NRG as they have 2 inhibitors down and they're bottled up inside their own base.
Cleaning them up. NRG, it's kind of the same thing here. History repeating itself. They've been trying to share minions for quite some time. Ever since we really saw Impact giving NRG a hard time in the top lane and Cloud9 grabbed maybe a 30 to 45 second lead in taking that first turret. Maybe it was just 30, but that 30 seconds has just mounted to so much now, being able to get to lanes quicker, waves quicker, and like you said, the manipulation of those waves has played into Cloud9's favor all game. Closing in on the base, the last and final inhibitor now. NRG looking to kind of sideswipe this one, come in with the initiation, but there's too many minions. No charm can come in. It can't be Santorin flying through because there's also too much damage to follow up on the front end from Cloud9. And Kobe, they're going to be looking for Nexus turret soon with all these waves about to crash in.
Yep, they've got Baron buff empowered. Oh, GBM went for it, but Sneaky quick flash to avoid the charm.
Just misses. Orb of Deception as well. They can't even get any of this poke damage in while using their ultimates. to get in and out of range. Kiwi Kid stepping up front as well to see if he can get a good grasping roots, but nothing gonna work. And here come the minions. There goes the initiation. Sneaky gets himself to the back as GBM ults after the first Spirit Rush. GBM down. Kiwi Kid and the rest of the team heading for the base as Quas goes for one last attack, but it's so locked up, he can't even throw back. He finally gets the ult off, but it's already Cloud9 on the Nexus, and Cloud9 with the Game 1 win over NRG.
And what a convincing win at that. Cloud9 looked very calm through that game.
Yeah. Great Talia play from the mid. Impact controlling a bit of the early game to help the team get a bit of a lead, and Meteos as well, keeping himself around the jungle. We didn't really see him too much early, but every time we did see him, it was like old Meteos. He was sure of the engage. He went in with the team, and they came out with something that was a plus.
Yeah, there was just that one mistake where he walked over ward. He didn't know he was invading in the jungle, waiting in that brush for a good 30 seconds. Like, I got these guys. They'll never expect it. But after the first blood, pretty much everything went in Cloud9's favor. And even before the first blood, they were winning in huge amounts of CS in mid and in the jungle. Meteos had also earned a bit of a lead. So things just going right for Cloud9 from pretty much the beginning of the game.
And we'll see if they can carry that into game 2. For more on that efficient Cloud9 win, let's hand it back to Dash.
And Ash, they can get punished pretty hard. Apex on your screens now, probably discussing what went wrong, what they need to adjust moving into game 2. Of course, we spoke earlier today about how this is a tall order for them, and even especially in his interview yesterday, wasn't sounding incredibly confident with the way the team was operating. So that's just one more layer that they're going to have to battle through in order to extend this series to game 3.
Well, at this point, I don't expect any team to come in confident to try to beat TSM.
Right.
That's what I was going to say. Is like, I don't think this is like a game where you're like, oh man, I don't know if we can do it, guys. Like,
it's like let's try to
they're
learn
undefeated
here.
and
Let's try to learn here. What
Yeah.
are they bringing that we can kind of use that to improve our play for next week?
Well, they're bringing Bjergsen and they're bringing Talia. We know that much, so we can do that next week, right?
Which, in fact, influences the top lane matchup so much, as we were talking about earlier, because you just can't pick these top lane champions anymore. So Aurelia, Trundle, Rumble, every single one of these champions is going to get obliterated by Italia in the mid lane. And it's not like a Twisted Fate, which, if you have CC, it's over. It's Talia, you're stuck there. It's like getting Jarvan ulted from afar.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of curious. If Talias are in the game, it's going to require so many more move blocks and dashes out of champions, because unless you have your flash up, you're really... You're
dead.
Screwed for 5 minutes, right? It's just like, well, for the next 5 minutes, we cannot fight. I cannot move past my turret and get caught out by Talia. Bjergsen is going to pick up that player of the game honors on the Talia. No surprises there. 7-0-5, 100% kill participation. So that pretty much says enough in terms of the way it went. But just sheer domination, too, in the mid lane. She's such a strong laner, and in his hands, it really showed.
Right. I think that's the big thing to point out, and why this is such like an ideal Bjergsen pick is not just the roaming potential, when we always talk about how good his roams are, but the fact that it also wins lane in a lot of matchups. So like
every matchup.
Yeah. So it's just so good, because like we've always compared to the TF, but the TF doesn't really win lane that hard. So to be able to win lane and roam, it's just the perfect Bjergsen pick.
Well, that's going to do it for Game 1 between TSM and Apex. They're re-gearing for Game 2. For those of you watching on NA LCS 1, that game's going to be starting in just a few minutes on the other side of the break. For NA LCS 2 viewers, rather, we're going to be breaking down C9's victory over NRG in Game 1 of that series. This one actually fairly similar team composition. C9 bringing in regards to TSM. The only difference is a Lucian in place of a Sivir, but Trundle, Gragas, Talia, and Karma all rounding out these compositions for both these teams.
Yeah, what's really interesting about it, too, is that these guys played on Friday night, so they weren't scrimming each other this week, so they kind of arrived at the same comp, just like, this looks pretty good.
That's probably why TSM says all the time that they're more worried about Cloud9 as opposed to, say, Immortals, because they're playing a very similar style. Maybe their comps they're trying out the same things with a really strong, dominating mid lane. Right. And with Jensen picking the Talia, I think Talia is the kind of champion that only the kind of elite mid laners are going to really be able to achieve something great with her.
Master.
Exactly. There's a lot of nuances to this champion, and we saw him just obliterating GBM. I mean, over 100 CS differential at one point.
Well, and that's the thing, right? So this game we had a lane swap, so we saw a little bit less action in the side lanes, in that early portion. And of course, we didn't see the junglers go to that mid lane as early in this game between Cloud9 and NRG, but Jensen's still very dominant on that champion. Well, GBM on the other side with the Ignite Ahri not finding a way to answer.
That's the thing, though. In a lane swap, the mid lane matchups, if they're one-sided, it's going to get influenced even more because nobody's going to have any
They're so
help.
isolated.
Yes, so if you have a mid laner that's really struggling or is in a difficult matchup, he's going to get pummeled for about 5 minutes until the lane swap is over. And that's exactly what happened. You saw that Santorin had to go mid lane to push the lane out just to help him out.
Santorin there on your screen. You can tell they're very locked in discussion right now about what they want to do for the next game here. And I'd like some help identifying what they should do, because it felt like in this game that NRG mostly rolled over, where if you contrast it to the other series, like Apex, we looked at that fight. Apex was making stabs at getting back in. It's just TSM had such a substantial gold lead so early on and had such control of the game, they weren't necessarily able to win the fights. For NRG's situation, though, just didn't necessarily feel like many attempts were made.
I mean, they made a couple. There was like the 16-minute 1-for-1 top lane where they were trying to get a dive off, and it just didn't work out. And because it's a 1-for-1 up there, on the bottom side of the map, we have C9 going 3-man and taking a turret, getting an advantage, and then they all reset and go mid and take the mid lane. And from there, the game's kind of blown open, not necessarily in the most like kill-heavy sense, but in an objective sense. And then the next time we see NRG try anything, you know, Quas TP's in on Gnar, and it's just Talia Wall cuts him off from his team.
Well, my problem with what NRG was doing was that last week we gave them praise for finding more success, and a lot of that came down to just very basic team compositions. Nothing really too fancy, just keeping things standard, particularly with the Victor in the mid lane. But now we saw them regress to all these wonky picks, and while Ahri is not the worst champion right now, it's far from what you really need when you need stability. She's very unreliable, and frankly, it did not look good in the hands of GBM. So maybe regressing to something more standard, that's the Victor, the not Ziggs.
Right. Anything not Ziggs.
That's quite a few champions. I'm sure we might want to limit that a little more.
No, I like it. I like
Okay,
it. Was limited to anything not Ziggs.
Yeah, just the Ahri pick in general. Like when the European scene tends to play Ahri, it's often like a TP Ahri and like a lot more of a playmaker. Whereas when you go the Ignite Ahri, it's like an assassin that if it doesn't snowball, it can't do much. And especially against a Talia pick, not having any kind of global pressure from mid lane turns out to just be a disaster. We saw it also.
You can't even push back.
Right, like we saw with TSM, Bjerg's first play was in the other series with a TP. It wasn't even with his ult. And then once that's down, he still has his ult to keep influencing the map. And to have nothing to match it is terrible.
I don't know how familiar you guys are with Talia and her matchups in the mid lane, but something that is consistent between these two games is both teams were on red side that picked her, and they both picked her last, which is generally indicative of counter-picking something. But we talk about how strong of a laner she is. Would it be safe to pick her on blue side into pretty much anything?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We've seen the kind of first times that we've seen her were LPL, LCK, and these teams are playing her just into anything. They've blind picked Talia and just obliterate mid lane matchups. And there are the difficulty comes in matchups where the other guy can just push nonstop, and Talia's kind of stuck a turret trying to last it that way. Because of work ground, when you have to use it a lot, you're leaving yourself to not make the best of trades. When you have the work ground, obviously you have that damage reduction on it. So she does have some difficulty, but it's usually just skill matchups all around, and she's very strong right now. And the laning phase, her really weakness just comes in the very late game.
Gotcha.
Right. I mean,
I got to cut you out because we got to move ahead. Player of the game going to Jensen. So both Talia players getting player of the game in our first games of the day. Not quite as impressive a scoreline as Bjergsen, but also that 100% kill participation. So again, just very indicative. It speaks very well to what this champion does. She can be in so many places at so many different times.
Yeah, I feel like if Talia has a good game, they might be up for player of the game, because just the way the champion works is you're going to be influencing the entire map. And anyone who's able to control the map for their team is obviously probably the most important player for that game. So that's why, you know, Jensen's able to pick it up this time.
All right, well, that's going to do it for this series. Cloud9 picking up game 1. Bunny Fufu is moving in for game 2, but we know that that's just the case with Cloud9 at this point. We'll see if he can go ahead and close out the series versus NRG with the rest of the squad in game 2, or if NRG can bring us to a game 3. That game returns in just 3.5 on stream NA LCS 2. See you in a bit.